Hey guys, Phil here at Woods Tree Farm. I realize it's been a few weeks since I've done a video. I struggle to make videos when we are focused on the actual business here, and when we're busy for Christmas season, it's a very short season. There's a lot to do to get everything ready, and like I said, I just struggle to get the camera out and struggle to make videos. So I didn't film anything the last couple weeks, not since the building was delivered. I think that was the last video that was published, and I'll show you more about that in a minute. But in today's video, I wanted to give you an overview of our Christmas tree sales area here and talk to you a little bit about a couple things we've done different for this year, a couple things that have worked well, and then I'll give you a preview of the shop and what it looks like, and then we'll talk a little bit about what we're going to do different for next year. So to kick us off, let's talk about how the trees are displayed. I have definitely shown this in previous years. We didn't change much this year. We're still using some T-posts pushed into the ground. Most of the trees on display out here are just slid down on those T-posts, and they're just kind of freestanding here. And we like the look at that, that gives. It kind of looks like a tree farm, right? And, it just gives a nice kind of visual appearance. People can walk all around those trees without tripping on, anything else that's around those trees to help them be displayed. There's other options to get this same look, like if you do the pin displays. We don't have that, but from what I've seen, that looks similar to this, but you end up with some boards on the ground that all of your pins are bolted to, which could be a tripping hazard for people. So that's kind of the only big difference there. We also use some pallet racks over here, basically to stood up some pallets, put a 2x4 in between them, and lean the trees on that. That works out okay. Last year we did get a few of these metal I don't know what you call them, metal display stands, and they hold up the tree like that. I don't have that many of those. I think we got 20 of them last year. So some of the trees are just lean straight on the 2x4. Some of the trees are held up with that. What I have found is that customers, when they're out here browsing, they can't really figure out how this works. So usually when a tree gets pulled out of the bracket, it doesn't go back in that. They end up just leaning it next to. So we have to constantly come back and put trees back up on these. But these work okay. We definitely use these along the fence, which I'll show you in a minute, for the bigger trees. But the pallet rack without these, honestly, works just fine. And for simplicity's sake, it is way easier than doing the T-posts in the ground. So as our tree lot has gotten bigger over the last couple years, we're doing more with these racks rather than more posts in the ground. And just to increase the number of trees on display without building another pallet rack, I had this old hay wagon, and we just screwed some pieces of wood around the side of that and leaned trees up against it, and that works fine. Give us a display space for another at least 10 or 12 trees. This was an addition for this year. We're calling this the elf lot, and we had all these tree tops from some scrubby trees that we bought for brush to make wreaths. So we had the tops of some trees. We had some damaged trees that came in, and we were able to salvage them and make all sorts of little trees here on the elf lot. So when the building came in, I mentioned that we're up on this hillside, and it was too big of a step to just jump right into that side door. So I decided to go ahead and build a ramp, build it to like ADA compliant specs. It's wide, it has the right slope, so that if someone needed that, they can get access to the building. That's on one side. On the other end of that landing, there is a step, but all along this railing, originally we were going to display wreaths on this railing, but as we were putting trees out, I said, why don't we just lean up trees here? And that actually worked out really well. So there's been trees leaning on that railing the entire time we've been open. And then leaning all around the building, we were leaning trees out there. Here's some along the back. And then on the other side of the building, and I'm walking uphill now, we had our biggest trees, still have our biggest trees out here. This tent is just air drying because it rained last weekend. I'm going to fold this up for this weekend because there's no rain in the forecast. But we had that over our baling table here just to keep the workers a little bit drier than being out in the weather. And then leaned all the way up against the fence is where we had our biggest trees. And all of these, like I mentioned before, did use those metal brackets. So that worked out pretty good. Our biggest trees are still there. I've got still maybe, 4 or 5 that are over 9 feet. Over on the pallet rack on the other side of this red tent, we have all of the trees that are 8 to 9 feet. Not a huge number of those left. I do still have a couple of them wrapped up that we can unwrap. But that's it. All in all, I think I've got about 100 trees left across all the sizes, not including the little elf trees, just of the 6 to 9 foot or 6 to 10 foot trees. We've got about 100 left, so hopefully all of those move out of here this weekend, and we can call this season a wrap. This will be our first season doing 3 selling weekends. Each of the last couple of years we've sold out in 2 weekends. So after we wrapped up last weekend, I was a little bit nervous, but I realized, yeah, 3 selling weekends is probably pretty normal. So we just had some unusual years, and we didn't get that many trees in previous years. We got more this year than we've ever gotten. We got 415 trees, and it's just going to take us an extra weekend to move through all this. Like we've done in past years, we make a big deal about trying to have as much of the festive tree farm experience as possible. So we've got the Griswold car cut out there again with an ugly old cedar tree on top. Down there by the fire pit, we've got Jingles, the old red truck with a tree in the back. We've got our little mock hot chocolate stand down by the water, that's down there. We've got the abominable snowman cut out down there. We've got the measuring tree down by the pond, and then just over there we set up a little bench. Right now none of the props are out there, but they will be when we open up tomorrow. We put some little fake packages, an old sled, and a little tiny Christmas tree, and a couple other things to make that look all decorated. So the photo props are super popular, and over in the elf lot, the little kids playhouse has a wreath on top. A lot of people were taking photos with that. And we've got the Little Tykes car with a little tree on top. People love that. So anyway, we are building on more of those experience elements year after year, and the truck is kind of the new thing for this year, and we'll continue to do more of that kind of stuff in the future. There's a Little Tykes car, there's the playhouse. So this is right outside of kind of the main commerce area with the shop building right here. So people would pick their tree off of the lot, take it behind the shed, or a worker would take it behind the shed where it would be prepped, shaken, baled, whatever people wanted to do to prep. And then the customers would go in the shop, which I'll go and show you that building right now. So inside the shop here, customers would actually walk in that side door. That's where the ramp is, and they would exit the door on the porch, which, kind of threw people off because the porch looks more inviting and everyone wanted to come in that way. But, we made it work. We put some signage up, and, it worked out okay. Inside here right now, we're set up for a wreath class. So these big double tables that are in the middle are not usually here when we're open for regular tree sales time. We've also got a couple wreath making benches in here. One's over there and one's just right next to me right here. So this is a little bit more open, a little bit more spacious when we're set up for retail time, and there's another table of product that we put right down the middle, and you can walk all around that. But this has actually really helped us move more product this year. So I think it's pretty safe to say that over a couple seasons, this building is easily going to pay for itself, because people are spending more money because we have this building. We are selling more non-tree merchandise than we've ever sold before. And we don't necessarily have any more product we don't have a larger variety of product or anything like that than we did last year with our big tent. It's just displayed better, and when you're able to come in out of the weather, and then we have a heater running in here, and it's nice and cozy, people are spending more time, and people are buying more product. So I'll talk more on that topic, and I'll talk a little bit about what people are actually buying in a future video. But I did want to show you the layout in here. As far as tables go, we've just used, we have the one old spool right there, and then we just use these basic, kind of 8-foot long banquet tables as our primary display tables, and we put, some tablecloths on there, use different kinds of boxes and different things to get product at different heights. We made this shelf over here out of some extra wood that we had laying around, so we were able to display some product there. This table is usually not here, that's just wreath decorations. And we had this old hutch in our house. We brought it out here, so we were able to display coffee and some decorative stuff and jams and jellies and honey and a few other things. Then we've got another table here with some more product. Some of this product that's in here is from local crafters. It's here on consignment. So doing that has helped us get a lot more merchandise here than what we could supply or what we're willing to buy and inventory ourselves. So this has really helped us grow the size of the shop considerably. So I'm coming back to finish filming this video 2 days later, because when I started this on Friday night, we were open Friday night for sales from 4 to 7. Some customers came, I got busy, it got dark, I didn't finish. So I wanted to talk to you briefly about what we know we want to change for next year. And I've commented before about how our whole property is sloped. So it's a pretty good downhill here to the pond, and having trees on the other side of our new building there down the hill, it's a lot of work to pull trees from display, bring them uphill, we prepare them over there, and then customers take them out in that direction. So we actually have some property here on the other side of this little tree line, so we want to expand the tree lot uphill in this direction so that it'll be a lot closer to bring pre-cut trees out to people's cars. The other thing we want to do, and this will be a major investment, is clear out this over here. I talked about this last year. I actually started taking some trees down here last year, but we got a quote to do the actual excavation work, and we decided not to do it last year. But that would be a huge time saver for our workers to not have to take trees all the way up to people's cars in that direction if we just had a nice little pull around right here where people could drive up, and if they needed assistance loading, we could do it right here. So that is definitely something that we're going to look at for next year, not just from an efficiency standpoint. It's just going to be easier on all the workers too. Everybody is dog tired at the end of the day taking trees all the way up there. So that's going to be the biggest difference for next year, is we want to make some serious improvements for the tree lot aspect. And then of course next year we're going to start cutting some of our own trees as well. So that's going to be a big change for our operation, because those trees across the pond that you can see there in the distance are now about 6 feet tall. Next year we'll have some 8 to 9 footers, and that's going to be really exciting. Now we're going to have maybe 100, maybe a little bit more trees that we can cut off this property for the first time. So the future video, I'm going to talk to you more about retail sales and what I think worked really well this year. Last year I did a video on the top selling products, and I'll do that again because we had some differences this year than last year. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'll catch you on the next video. Bye-bye.